today we're going to go through paper 2, November 2018 for AQA really, and hopefully this can help you through with these questions. So what does A and B, so that symbol stands for A and B represent, so therefore B, A and B, so this is the one we're after. P is 4, 9 and Q is minus 2, 1. So I call the midpoint of P and Q. So if you're imagining you've got 2 points, 4, 9, minus 2, 1, you're trying to find the middle of them two. That's what you're trying to find. So you've got 4 minus 2 over 2 at 9 plus 1 over 2. So therefore 2 over 2 and 10 over 2. So your midpoint should be 1, 5. Which of these is a geometric progression? So geometric progression basically means what do you times by? So this equation here, 3, 6, 9, would be a linear equation because I'm going up in threes. Yeah, and so 12 and so on. Now we're looking for a geometric progression. What am I going up by each time? So if you notice this one here, 1, 3, 9, 1, 3, 9, 27, 81. What happens is you times by 3 each time. You don't add 3 each time, you times by 3. So therefore, this is why we know this is called a geometric progression for us. Question 4. The bearing of A from B. So B is a starting point. B is where you start from, is 310. So if you had your points, you've got A and B. Let's say from B is your starting point. The bearing of A from B is 310. So therefore, this whole section should be 310, and this is point B, and this is point A. And he's asking, find the bearing of B from A. So what will be this? So the question is asking you to work out this. So if the whole thing is 310. That means this is 50. So from 50, what's missing? You've got co-interior angles. So remember, these two angles add up to 180. So therefore, what's missing is 130 degrees. So that's what we take out 130. A circle has a circumference of C and diameter D. Find the value that the constant K represents. So there's two things you could have written. You could have written pi, or in fact, you'd actually get a mark for writing anything between 3.1 and 3.142. So either of these would give you a mark for these questions, for this question even. Continuing. Question 6, here's some of the information about 20 trains leaving the station. Work out an estimate for the mean. So obviously for here, what we need to do is we need to find the midpoint. So midpoint, we've got 2.5, 7.5, 12.5. Now, if you're thinking, well, what's going to be the midpoint between 15 and above? Well, you don't need it, because if you times by 0, you still end up getting 0. So a bit of a tricky question really for us. And you should have, so I'm just getting my calculator for this, 52.5. And 12 times 2.5 should be 30. So we're looking for the total of this column divided by the total of this. Total of that column is 95. Total of this column is 20. 95 over 20. The answer is 4.75. Do not round it. You write it as is. So 4.75. So that's part A, the question. Part B, the station manager looking at the information in more detail. He wants to work out an estimate of the mean using this information. How does this estimate compare with the answer to part A? So if you're looking at the numbers, we've got 0, we've got 12, 2 and 4, 0. So we've still got the same amount of people or number of trains even. And you've got to be thinking, it's got more information. So an estimate for the mean for this information, it would actually go lower because it's got more different sections. So therefore lower than part A, because they've broken it down to more sections. So lower than part A. Work out the value of A and B. in the identity. So you've got an identity here. So an identity means that you're not able to move from left to right. Whatever you do in your left-hand side, you do in your left-hand side. Whatever you do in your right-hand side, you do in your right-hand side. And then you simply compare between them. So first step for your first mark would have to be to expand it. So therefore 35x plus 40 plus 6x plus 3b. Identity symbol ax plus 13. Collect like terms. 35. So therefore you've got 41x plus 40 plus 3b equals ax plus 13. And this is the difference between identities. So because it's an identity, I'm not able to move around, but I'm able to compare coefficients. What is in front of x? Well, therefore from this, it means that 41 must be equal to a. And then I can say that 40 plus 3b must be equal to 13. So 40 plus 3b must be equal to 13, and I can solve that. 3b equals to 13, take 40. So I've got minus 27. Minus 27 divided by 3 would give us minus 9. So your two answers are 41 and minus 9. Continuing on, two identical quarter circles are cut from a rectangular are shown. So you've got the whole length is 12, so therefore straight away without even looking at the question, I can see this is 6 centimeters and this is 6 centimeters, because it's the halfway point. So therefore these two are the radius of the circles. Work out the shaded region. Well, the shaded region, if that's 6, therefore that must be 6 here. So let's find area of a rectangle. Is going to be 6 times 12, so 72. So that would give you 1 mark, guys. Yeah, so that give you 1 method mark just here straight away. Then continuing, you've got 2 quarter of a circle. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. Now, if we put the 2 quarters together, what we need is half a circle. So area of semicircle is pi r squared divided by 2. So pi times radius, which is 6, squared divided by 2. So that gives us 18 pi. That gives us 18 pi. And then in a calculator, I would type 72, take away 18 pi. And it's not asking you your answer to any significant figure or anything like that. So anything between 15.4 and 15.5 should be your answer for that. Continuing on, the diagram shows the position of the tap when off and fully on. When off and fully on, the tap is fully on when the angle of turn is 180 degrees, as you can see here in this graph. When fully on, water flows out the tap 14 liters per minute. The rate for which water flows out is direct proportion to the angle of the turn. So the rate is in direct proportion on the angle. Let's see. The tap is turned 135 degrees. The water flows into the tank of capacity 79.8 liters per minute. Will it take less than 7.5 minutes to fill a tank? You must show you're working for this. So you got full on, and 14 liters. And this one tells you that the tap is the degree is 135. And we're trying to figure out how long will it take to fill 79.8 for us. So step 1, you can do it either way you wanted to. So I'm going to find what's the relationship between these two if it's in direct proportion. So I've got 14 liters per minute, K times angle, which is 180. So K must be 14 over 180. So 14 divided by 180, which gives me a horrible number. So I'm just going to write that as 14 over 180. In fact, 7 over 90 to simplify it. 7 over 90 is K. So the rate is 7 over 90 times angle. So if the angle is 135, the rate is going to be 7 over 90 times 135, because that's the angle. So let's see if this number gets any better. 70 divided by 90 times by 135 gives us 10.5. Sorry, my calculator just died. Low batteries. So the rate is 10.5. So 10.5 liters per minute. So will it take less than 7.5 or more? So if we to do 10.5 times 7.5, 10.5 times 7.5, that actually gives us 78.75, which is unfortunately not full. So it'll take more, it'll take longer. It will take longer. So no, it will take longer to fill. Continuing, this triangle is an equilateral triangle. Is the perimeter of the triangle greater than 1? That's what we're trying to find out. So the information here that we need is that the triangle is equilateral. So hence, I can compare either of the angles with each other and should be equal to each other. So 6x take 10 must be equal to 10x take 4. So 6x take 10, I've got to expand the brackets here, guys, equals to 10x take 40. And minus 10 equals to 4x take 40. 30 equals to 4x. X equals to, so we can say x equals to 7.5. So that is the value of x. And a lot of people will finish here because they're thinking, I'm happy, I've got x. But that's just x. I need to find what the actual size is equal to. So 6 times 7.5 times 10. 6 times 7.5. Take away 10 even. Gives us 35. So that's 35 centimeters. 3 times 35 centimeters is 105 centimeters. So yes, it is actually bigger. Yes, it's bigger than 1 meter by 5 centimeters. Continuing on for us, an approximation for the value of P is given. Use your calculator to show that this approximation is within 0.1 of 3.14. So therefore, I imagine you simply type this in your calculator. So 4 lots of 1 takeaway. I'll do the fraction button for us. 22 over 57 plus 22. And it gives us 3.041. And you get 1 mark for that. 3.14 take away 3.041 gives us 0.09. And therefore, you can actually prove it. That is that. So 2 marks here. Silly question, really. Continuing, work out 9.12 times 10 to the power of 10, 3.2 times 10 to the power of 4. So before you do anything, the easiest part is this part, because that is simply take away. So you've got 9.12 over 3.2 times 10 to the power of 6. And then how many 3.2s go into 9.12? 2.85 times 10 in the power of 6. And it's in standard form because it is between 1 and 10. So the first part is between 1 and 10. If you draw it like this, that is wrong. That is not standard form. Continue with question 13. Ashraf is going to put box into a crate. The crate is a cuboid measuring 2.5 by 2 by 1.2. Each box, or even guys, is a cube of length 50 centimeters. He does these calculations. So volume of crate 2.5 times 2 equals 6. Volume of one box, it's the number of boxes you claim. So I can put 48 boxes in the crate. Evaluate Ashraf method and claim. Now the problem that we've got here, guys, is you've got to think you've got a box and you're trying to put box inside, and his method does not work because 1.2 does not divide exactly by 50 centimeters. So 1.2 meters does not work because 1.2 does not work because it does not divide exactly by 50. By 50 centimeters. So therefore, if you're thinking about it, if you were to fit the boxes in, you would have 0.5, 0.5, and you'd have 0.2 remaining for your box. So that is in a hole. And evaluate Astro's method and claim. So his claim, it should be he can only fit 40 boxes, not 48. Simply because, as I said, there's this gap here that he cannot put a box in. He's thinking of cutting the boxes in half and filling it in. He's gone with volume instead of physical boxes. That's the problem for this question. Question 14. The cross section of a prism has n sides. Circle the expression for the number of edges of this prism. So if you've got a three-sided shape, this a 3D shape even, sorry guys, these are the edges. Has n sides, circle the expression for the number of edges on this prism, so the answer should be 3n. The volume of a metal is 48 centimeters cubed, so the volume of the whole metal. If you're thinking about it, the metal is made from copper and tin. The volume of copper to the volume of tin is 22 to 3. So without even looking at the rest of the question, I've got volume of copper, volume of tin is in 22 and 3. And the number that I need to split is the 45. So I need to split the 45 into 22 and 3. So 45 divided by 25. And therefore that gives us 1.8. And 1.8 times 22. So volume of copper is 39.6. Volume of tin, in fact I'll write it here, volume of tin is 5.4. Next line, the density of the copper is that. The density of the tin is this. So density of copper is 8.96. The density of the tin is 7.31. And the way I remember it, I just remember the American DMV in order to figure out what. So we need the mass, that's what's missing. So we need the mass for both things. So the mass for the tin and the mass for the copper is going to be worked out by simply multiplying across. Yeah, so all I've got to do is multiply across, so the density times the volume, and we're going to get two masses, and the two masses are, your answer could be between anything between, depending on where you've rounded, I'm just looking at the mass scheme too guys, so at the same time, 3.4 and 3.55, and the mass of the tin could be anything between 39 and 40. And all you got to do is add it, and your final answer could be anything between 394.29 and 394.3. Anything between these two should be a correct answer. So what you've done here is you worked out the volume, you're already given the density, and you're trying to find the mass, and simply add the two masses together. Cumulative Fields graph shows the information about the masses of 50 apples. So you've got 50 apples altogether. Use the graph to estimate the median. So the median's got to be at 25 apples. So you need to be exact for this. So it should be 106. 106 for us. I need to be exact because they've given us the graph. Yeah. And obviously you can see how my line's gone a bit further, but it is definitely 106. Make sure you use your ruler when you're doing this question. Estimate the proportion of apples that have a mass greater than 115. Greater than 115. So we'll go to 115. We'll go up and across. So 115 up and across. So that gets us to 42 apples. So we want greater though, greater than 115. So 50 apples altogether, take 42. It's 8 apples, and it's going to be 8 out of 50. 8 out of 50, or 4 out of 25, or 16%. That's the proportion for us. Question 17. A is a prime number, B is an even number. So A is a prime number, B is an even number. Circle the correct statement about n. And the correct answer is it could be even or it could be odd. It could be an even or it could be an odd. And if you wanted, you could have tried it for yourselves and saw different numbers. So n is a prime number. So let's say number 2. And B is an even number, so it's 4. So 2 squared to add 2 times 4. So that will give you even. But let's try A being 3. So 3 squared, add 3 times 4. So 9 plus 12, which gives you 21. But 4 plus 8 gives you 12. So it can be either odd or it could be an even. Question 18. A bag contains 20 discs. 10 are red. 10 are red, 7 are blue, and 3 are green. That's what you've got. Manny takes a disc at random before putting it back in the bag. Nick takes and put it back in the bag. And Ollie then takes a disc at random. So they all put it back in the bag as a replacement. Work out the probability that they all take a red disc. So they all take a red disc. So if you have a tree, so you've got your red, you've got your blue, and you've got your green. So you've got 10 out of 20. 7 out of 20 and 3 out of 20. So probability of red is 10 out of 20. Or 1/2. That's the probability of getting red. So 1 mark for working this one out. And then simply all you've got to do is you've got 3 people. So 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 gives you 1/8. So the correct answer is 0.125. So continuing on, again, each part B of the question, so you can use the same information that you've got 10 red ones, 7 blue ones, and 3 green ones. And it says all 20 discs are in the bag. So all 20 discs. Reggie takes 3 discs at random, one after the other. After he takes a disc, he does not put it back. Reggie's first disc is blue. So we already know that this is his pathway for us. We know his first disc is going to be blue. So we're trying to find what's the next 2 steps are going to be. So from blue, the options are red, blue, green again. So you've got 10 out of 19 this time because it doesn't put it back in. 7, in fact, sorry, 6 out of 19. Not that we need it, and also 3 out of 19. And notice how if I was to add everything here, 10, 6, and 3, they add up to 19. So he could pick red or he could pick green. So from here on, we've got another branch of red, blue, and green. Another branch of red, blue, and green. So probability of getting red, if it doesn't put it back in, is 9 out of 18. Then you got 6 out of 18, 7 out of 18 even, 6 out of 18, and 3 out of 18. Again, they add up to 18. Next one here, the easiest one is to do the one that takes away. So 2 out of 18, and you're left with 6 out of 19. 18 even, and 10 out of 18. So as you've already got the first probability done for you already know it's going to be blue. We're looking for the other 2 pathways. So each pathway can either be red and then green, or green and then red, because work out probability that all 3 discs are of different color. So we're trying to find these 2 pathways. So it is 10 out of 19 times 3 over 18, and again 3 out of 19 times 10 out of 18. They both equal the same. They both equal the same for us. So let's do a look for you guys. So fraction button, 10 over 19 times fraction button again, 3 over 18. And that gives us 5 out of 57 and 5 out of 57. So what we do with these 2 is we add them. So therefore our answer is 10 out of 57. 10 out of 57 for that question. Right, continuing on. So lunch chose 1 starter and 1 main course. There are 4 starters and 10 main courses to choose from. So 4 starters and 10 main courses to choose from. 2 of the starters and 3 of the main courses are suitable for vegans. What percentage of the possible lunches have both courses suitable for vegans? For this, so you've got there are 4 starters and 10 main courses to choose from. 2 of the starters and 3 of the main courses are suitable for vegans for us. What percentage of the possible lunches have both courses suitable for vegans? So we're looking for which combinations we could have. So first of all, we've got 4 times 10, so 40 possible. So 4 starters and 10 main courses, so 40. And then we've got 2 times 3, which is 6. So we could do 2 over 4 and 3 out of 10. So 2 out of 4, 2 from 4, or 3 out of 10. And therefore you've got 0.5 and 0.3. So therefore you can actually do 2 times 3 over 4 times 10, which will give you 15. And that's the answer, 15%. So 2 times 3 over 4 times 10. And that's the answer. So again, we got the 2 out of 4 because 2 out of the 4 starters. And main courses is 3 out of 10. So if we can multiply them together, therefore we get 15%, because that gives us 0.15. And therefore convert a percentage as 15%. Question 20, n is a possible integer. So n is a possible integer. Prove algebraically that it is a cube number. So prove algebraically that is a cube number. So what we can do from here, we see we can try and expand brackets. So we're going to get 6n squared over n, add 2n cubed plus 6n cubed take 6n. So that's the first step. If we can simplify, we're going to get 6n plus 2n cubed plus 6n cubed take 6n. These cancel each other out, so you're left with 8n cubed. So how can we prove this is a cube number? Well, both of these need to be represented as a cube. So you've got, really that means 8 times n cubed. Well, 8 is 2 cubed. So therefore we can write 2n all cubed, and that's us proving it. That is actually a cube number. Question 21, y is inversely proportional to x. So y is inversely proportional to x for us. So we can start with y equals k of the square root x, because it's inversely proportional. Okay, so that as soon as you were to see the word proportional, I want you to be thinking about k constant. When y is 4, x is 9. So therefore y equals to k of the square root 9. So from this we can get that 4 times 3 equals k equals 12. Work out an equation connecting y and x. So work out an equation connecting y and x. So therefore we can write y equals 12 of the square root x. All you've got to do is substitute the value of k you just worked out. Work out the value of y when x is 25. Well, nice and easy. Y equals 12 over square root 25. 12 over 5 is the answer for this. Or you can leave it as 2.4 or anything you wanted. Or 2 and 2/5, say for example. Either of these answers is correct. Next line. So have I missed anything? No. Next one is simplify. So looking at this straight away, I can think of the word factorize. So I'm trying to get brackets somehow, and I'm hoping for some of the brackets to cancel down. That's what I want to be able to do. So the top bracket, let's see the top what we can actually do for this. So x in the power of 4 can go out, or x in the power of 3 even. And we could have x in the power of 2 take away 4. And at the bottom we're going to left with 3x minus 6. So this one in time it looks a bit more complicated, but what can I say here? I can see that this is the difference of two squares, so or dots. So on the top I've got x cubed, and that'll be x minus 2, x plus 2. It's like me saying, how could I factorize that? Well, that is x minus 5, x plus 5. Difference of two squares. So again, sorry, I've already been jumped the gun there. How can I make that at the bottom? How can I have x minus 2 at the bottom? Well, I can factorize by 3, and I'm left with x minus 2. So you can see now that these cancel each other out, so you're left with x cubed over x plus 2 over 3. And I'm just checking for you guys. And if you want, you can expand your answer to x in the power of 4 plus 2x cubed over 3. PQR is a straight line. The ratio of P to Q to Q to R is a ratio of 3 to 1. PQ is A, so PQ is A. Circle the vector RQ, so we want to circle the vector RQ for us. So the ratio of P to Q to R is 3 to 1. So the ratio of P to Q to R is 3 to 1. So for every 3 parts, you've got 1. So what does that mean? Well, it means that, so for every 3 you've got 1. Well, therefore Q to R is 1/3. It's 1/3 of PQ. 1/3 of PQ. So P to Q, so Q to R must be 1/3 of P to Q. If you're thinking about it, if you had to split it up, you've got 4 parts altogether. So I've got 1 part here, and therefore how many parts you could fit. So it's 1/3 of P to Q. Well, P to Q, the question tells us is A, so therefore that'll be 1/3 A. So that's P to Q. But we're not after QR, we're after RQ, so we're after the opposite direction. So RQ is simply going to be minus 1/3 of PQ, minus 1/3 of A. So this is the correct answer for us. Here's a sketch of the equation. The curve passes through these points. On the grid, sketch the curve of f of x plus 2. So f of x plus 2, what does that mean? Is, first of all, this will affect the x-axis, and I do the opposite. So because this tells us to go plus 2, that means we're going to move left by 2. Move to the left by 2. So let's go to your x coordinates, and I'm going to move 2. So that was here, so that's going to go here. So I'm moving all the coordinates, all the steady coordinates, as I can see, to the left by 2. I'm trying to find the accurate coordinates really when I'm moving it. And hopefully I can draw it. There you go. So A, B, C, and ACD are triangles, work out the size of angle X. So looking at this question here, first of all, I've got a right angle. So I need to be able to do something with this right angle. So looking at this, I can either do Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. But because I've got an angle, I need to know that I need to be doing SOHCAHTOA. So this is your hypotenuse, this is your opposite of your angle, and this is your adjacent. So the way I do it is I write it out and ask myself 2 questions. What have you got and what you're trying to find? Well, you've got the value of A, and you're trying to find the value of O for this question. So therefore we need the tan ratio. So opposite, so TOA, opposite is equal to tan, well tan 49 for this question, times 16. So tan 49 times 16, which gives us, calculated, tan 49 times 16, That gives 18.4. So let's put 18.4 for us. Really good habit of us is making sure that we write what we worked out afterwards. Now, this is something that ourselves in year 11 have not done yet, but this is called the Sine Rule, next thing we need to be using. And I circle it, and basically you create the baguettes, and that tells you to use the Sine Rule. So Sine Rule, for this question here, so we're going to have, and we're looking for an angle, so it'd be sin x over, what's the opposite of x, 18.4, equals to sin 45, sin 35 even, over 20. So therefore sin x must be equal to sin 35 over 20 times 18.4. But I'm not after sin x, I'm after x, so x equals sin minus 1 of this beast. And I'll type this on my calculator. Sin 35 over 20 times 18.4. Close my bracket. That gives us 31.8. It says work out the size of angles, so it's not giving us any description. So anything between 31.8 to 31.9 could be acceptable for degree for you guys. Next one. Again, functions, not something that we've done, but we'll be doing in year 11. Work out f of g of x. So g of x is this equation. So we're trying to put that equation into the f. So whatever x is here, we're going to put x squared take 2. So f of g of x is going to be equal to, so wherever f is, we're going to put the g. So x squared take 2 over x squared take 2 plus 2. So we're left with x squared take 2 over x squared take 2 plus 2, x squared take 2 over x squared. Give your answer in the form of this, so therefore we can break it up to 1 take away 2x minus 2. Remember, if you flip it over, you can change the power. So that'll be the answer for us. So the value of a is 1, the value of b is minus 2, and the value of n is minus 2. So I've written it in this form as the question desired. The point 3,164 lies on the curve, where k is a constant, so that the point lies on this curve. So what we can do is we can use this point and substitute into here to work out what the value of the constant is. So, because we know it lies on the curve. 1 over 64 equals to k in the power of 3. So there must be something we can actually do to arrange it for us. Well, 64, so k in the power of 3 equals to 1 over 4 in the power of 3. So therefore, we could have this as k in the power of 3 equals to 1/4 in the power of 3. Because remember, 1 cubed is a number 1. So that means that k must be equal to 1/4. So if k is 1/4, let's sub into this equation again. So therefore our expression, by the way, is y equals 1/4 in the power of x. So we're going to have 1/2 equals to 1/4 in the power of 1/2. What does 1/2 stand for? Well, 1/2 stands for square root even. So 1/2 equals to 1 over 2. So correct, it does lie on the curve for us. There we go. We've got 2 more questions, right? So Izzy runs an 800-meter race in 14 seconds. Sorry guys, got a drink of water. Izzy runs 800 meters in 14 seconds. During her first 6 seconds, her speed increases at a constant rate. You can see it here, 8 seconds, her speed increases at a different constant rate. Her speed at 14 seconds is 2 meters per second more than her speed at 6 seconds. Her speed at 14 seconds is 6 seconds, is more than her speed at 6 seconds, 2 centimeters. So the difference here must be 2. So the difference here must be 2. Work out the acceleration during the last 8 seconds. So between 6 and 14. Between 6 and 14. So looking at this graph here, we're looking for acceleration. So acceleration from the graph can be worked out as the gradient. So gradient for this graph will be change in y over change in x. Well, the change in x is quite easy to work out. Well, the change in x is quite easy to work out because it's 14 take 6, which is 8. But the change in y, how can we work that out? Well, we just talked about this difference being 2, which is 2/8. So the gradient is 1/4. So my answer is 0.25 meters per second squared. When Izzy finishes the 80-meter race, her speed is v. Work out what the value of v is going to be equal to. Well, if you're looking at this graph here, so when she finishes, her speed is v. We're trying to find what that vx is equal to. So we know that the total distance is 80 meters. So the total distance here, guys, is 80 meters. So on the first gap, do we know the speed for the first gap? The first excessive speed increase at a constant rate. We know it's constant. That's what we know. So therefore, we could do 1/2 times 6 times v over 2. Why is that? Well, if the speed is v, the gap is 2 here, so therefore that speed here would be v take 2. So that's the first area we've worked out. And then we've got this shape here, which is a trapezium. So which are the parallel sides? Well, these two are the parallel lines. So we can have plus, what's the height of it is going to be? The height's going to be v take 2 add v times by your height, which is 8. That's 8 divided by 2. And if I add these two together, these two should be equal to 80 because that is the total distance covered. So I'm just going to copy that quickly. And I'm going to paste it here. What it says. So that should be equal to 80. So let's see if we can solve that. So that's all over 2. That's all over 2 here too. So let's multiply everything by 2. So we're going to get 6 v take 2 plus v take 2 plus v times 8 equals to 160. 6v take 2 take 12 plus 2v take 2 times 8 equals 160. 6v take 12 plus 16v take 16 equals to 160. Therefore, add these two together, 22v take away 28 equals to 160. 22v equals to 188. 188 divided by 22, 94 over 11, which is 8.54, recurring. And that's how I do that question. So you would work out with the area, the total area, because if you think about it, speed equals distance over time. So if you got speed, if you got time, you can work out the distance. So all in all, a decent maths paper. Topics which I didn't expect you to have done already is question 28, definitely. We've not done that yet, guys. We've not done functions. We've not done the second part of this question here, which is sine rule. So we've not done the second part of this question, which is sine rule. We've not done transformation of graphs. We've done factorize, we've done ratios. Just going through here. That should have been the questions which you should have struggled. Anything else we have done in the past. So I'll stop it there. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this.